Hi there, good afternoon. My name is John Seltzer. This is Communications 101, Liberty University Online. Depression is something that's plagued America for years. I felt really no better place to give this speech than in a field. To some, it's really just a field, but to people that suffer from depression, it's a battlefield. As a person who's been in the military, I was in the Marine Corps. After going into the Marine Corps, I was sent to Parris Island, South Carolina. 3 weeks after being there, that's the first time you're actually away from your family. Most of us are 17, 18 years old. We've never been anywhere in our life. At night, after taps would go down, we'd lay in our bed. You'd hear the tears of certain people rolling down their cheeks. You'd hear stories. You weren't allowed to talk. You weren't allowed to do anything. I was in platoon 3037 Kilo Company. We laid in bed one night. Fire watch was walking around, and all of a sudden we heard a loud slam. By the time we got up to figure out what the slam was, there was nobody there to report it. When we walked over to the window, we saw the window was open. We looked 3 stories down, and on the ground 3 stories below us was one of our brothers in arms. Now many say maybe he just couldn't hack it. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he was a sissy. Come to learn that people who think they're sissies, or people who don't think they can hack it, the ones that say that are the ones that truly don't know if they can hack what's going to come up in the future. Now mind you, we've been there for 3 weeks. We really didn't know one another just yet. But we later found out, a couple of weeks later, throughout our training and different discussions, that the boy that jumped out of the window, prior to joining the military, suffered from depression. He joined the military because he wanted to gain more self-confidence in himself. He wanted to have the ability to say that I've achieved something, I've done something that matters, and I can conquer all things. Shortly after being released from the military, I went and saw a shrink, or a psychiatrist. I was later found out that I was diagnosed myself with PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. One of the leading causes, or one of the things that happens with post-traumatic stress syndrome, is depression. Depression is something that can affect a person's life, whether it be positive or negative. It can also be something that ends a person's life. There's really no cure. I was personally medicated very heavily for a while. I was on 150 milligrams of Wellbutrin and 10 milligrams of Lexapro a day. I found later that taking all these medications, the only thing that resolved was the fact that I was cold as ice. And I use that analogy not in the literal sense of being cold, but being cold-hearted. I didn't feel anything. I didn't think about anything. I came and went as I pleased. It wasn't until years later that I decided that maybe I want to feel the emotion. Maybe I want to see the emotion. Maybe I want to face what I feared. Maybe I want to face what I saw. I made the decision to stop taking the medication. I made the decision to face reality. Depression is a big part of many people's lives, and you don't have to be in the military to suffer from PTSD. The Center for Anxiety Disorders and Depressions noted that 18% of Americans suffer from depression. Now, the general focus of my speech is mainly focused on the military, because that's where you commonly hear that term associated with. You think about the boys coming back from Iraq, the men and women coming back from Iraq, are seeing and enduring things that we've never seen or endured before in any combat situation. The diagnosis PTSD is now recognized by the military, and I'm grateful for that. Those folks that were in Operation Desert Storm in Vietnam and even in Korea that are still alive, we're not blessed with that opportunity to be properly diagnosed with PTSD. The disorders they faced, the consequences they faced from what they've seen while in combat, are things that will plague them for the rest of their life, and there's really no treatment for them. People with PTSD live among you every day. You may not recognize it. Me personally, I lived with PTSD for 5 years, medicated, and now going on almost 2 years unmedicated. We work very hard to hide what's wrong with us. We work very hard to hide our emotion. There are times when we think about things, we see things, but in the meantime, we work very hard to hide it from people. We're not very social. Sometimes we keep to ourselves. But there is a treatment. I believe that there's no medication out there that can make you forget what you once saw, because eventually it's going to come back to you. You can face reality, or you can live in suspicion for the rest of your life. But the best prescription, the best treatment for a person with PTSD is you. A person, someone else to talk to. Engage them, talk to them. You may never get them to tell you about what's really wrong with them. You may never really get them to talk about the situation, what they've seen or what they've faced. But challenge their mind. Talk about different things that they've experienced in their life, maybe before experiencing a traumatic situation that changed their life as they know it. Take them out with your friends. Take them out. If you have to take them to the bar, take them to the club. They're going to want to isolate themselves. But take them out anyway. Spend time with them. They're human beings, just like you and I. Jesus said, love one another just as Christ has loved you. I believe if it wasn't for the people I faced in my life, that I wouldn't be standing here today. Many people took the time to spend time with me and allow me to face my fears head on. Now the Department of Veteran Affairs recognizes such a disorder, there's treatment available, whether it be social or medical, to face these fears and face these disorders that's plagued us over the years. There's so many other things that go on with PTSD that in the short amount of time we have, I really can't discuss all of it with you. The lifestyle it offers is very life-altering, not just for you, but the people who are around you. But as a person who has never suffered, as a person who has never had to deal with depression or PTSD, I beg you and I urge you to seek out those who do. Because not only will you change their life, but you can change their life. They will change your life as well. You might experience things with them that you didn't know were even possible. You might hear stories that will probably scare you to some extent. You might notice part of a lifestyle that is very scary, maybe somewhat obsessive. But I beg you, talk to them, cling to them, and love them like your own family. So one day, this field, this meadow, will no longer be a battlefield, but a place of solace and remembrance. A place where you can go to enjoy your thoughts and be alone with your thoughts. People with PTSD choose not to be alone with their thoughts because frankly the thoughts they're alone with aren't that great. Getting to know your neighbors, and many of them live right next to you, you just don't know it. Getting to know your neighbors is very important. Love thy neighbor. Make him your friend. Well, don't make him your enemy. Again, you might see things in their lifestyle that scare you, but I assure you they're just as scared of you as you are of them. The best thing you can do is spend time with them, encourage them, challenge them. You may want to talk to them like nothing's wrong, but eventually the time will come when they'll have to face their fear. They'll have to face the social anxiety that they once feared. But be alone with them. Spend time with them. Challenge them. Encourage them to move on to new things. And I assure you that the love they'll share for you is so rewarding that the reward will be so worth the effort.